Hey guys, I wanted to make a quick video that I was looking for a long time on the internet when I was in the market for a 3-axis motion control slider system, and I just couldn't find it. The two sliders that I was interested in were the Syrp Genie II and the Rhino Arc II. There were, of course, plenty of videos reviewing each system individually, and there were a couple that reviewed the Edelkrone system compared to the Rhino Arc II system. But there just weren't any that touched on the Genie II in that mix. There were a lot of gushing reviews on the Rhino Arc II system, so I pulled the trigger on that system right before a paid gig, and I brought it to that job, used it a bunch on a live set, and it gave me a lot of insights that I think are valuable to share. This video is not really meant to be a comprehensive review of either system. It's just meant to hit the wave tops and touch on the differences between the two systems, and to talk a little bit about what led to my ultimate decision on a 3-axis system. So let's get to it. I would really like to get my thoughts out there without disparaging Rhino as a company. I think they're an awesome company with awesome people working at it, and I really had a great experience working with them as a company. When I decided the Rhino Arc was not for me and ultimately returned it, they took it back, no questions asked, and they were just always very helpful and easy to work with in general. Initially, I didn't think that the cables for the Rhino Arc II system would be a factor, but after using it on set for a while, I found myself constantly feeling the need to babysit them to make sure they didn't get hung up on anything. They're long enough to make sure that the slider can move the entire 42 inches of the track that comes with it, but I still felt like it could snag on something and pull the camera package over or just ruin the shot in general. So I found myself making sure that it didn't, and that just took focus away from making sure that the shot was right and that I nailed the shot. When it comes to the Syrp system, there are no cables or wires coming off of the system. The only thing that comes from the main body of the unit is the rope drive system, and that resides within the bounds of the track. So it's not outside the rails at all, and that's protected by the track on the unit. So it's a very clean, trim system with nothing that will get hung up on anything that's not within the system. The Arc II's track system has two major issues, or rather two issues on either sides of the same issue. Two things that I didn't like about it. The 42-inch track that is very heavy and very strong is not capable of being broken down to be smaller and is not able to be linked together to be any longer or expanded to be longer than 42 inches. When you can't break down the track from its 42-inch length, that means that it wouldn't fit into my fairly large boxes that I was packing out to this shoot that I was bringing it to. That meant that I was forced to bring it in another fourth box that was large enough for this track to go into. If I didn't need that track with me, then I could have packed all the rest of the pieces up into a smaller box or into one of the other boxes I was packing out. But because that 42-inch track would not get smaller, I had to bring a fourth box, which is an issue when you're a small production and you're the one lugging all your gear. It can add a cost of up to $150 to $200 per leg of your trip on airline baggage fees if you're already bringing several other boxes. So it is unfortunate that that one part of the system affected so much of the rest of the logistics of my trip. I don't see people needing more than 42 inches very often, but it would be nice if that need arose to be able to extend the track longer than 42 inches. The only reason I would say that now that I've used the Syrp Genie II system is because it can do that. You can build out the 24-inch segments to as long as you need them to go, and should you come up on a situation where you need 3 segments linked together, you can do that. On the flip side of that, you can pack up the track into 24-inch segments, so no matter how many segments you need, they will never be longer than 24 inches. So you stack them up into a box, you stack them up into a backpack, whatever the case may be. It's a really, really good system. Another nice touch on the Genie system for the track is that the segments are locked together with just quick release latches. So if you do want to break it down or expand it, it's just quick latches on each pipe, slide in another one or pull out the one that you're trying to get rid of, latch it back down again. Simple as that. Super, super fast, and that is a common trait amongst all of the Genie stuff. The Dolly on the Arc II has no flywheel built into it. So if you wanted to use it for just a straight Dolly system, no 3-axis control system part of it, then it's usable certainly, but it is missing what a lot of systems that are manual have to make things smoother, which is the flywheel. Again, probably wouldn't be a real issue or something that I would consider a negative mark against it if I hadn't used the Syrp Magic Carpet. It is the slider portion of the 3-axis control system. So if you pull all of the 3-axis off, you're left with the slider and the track, and it has a built-in flywheel. So should you want to go fully manual on things, you can just push the button in, engage the flywheel, and now you've got just that little extra bit of help smoothing out your Dolly shot. It really is a super tight, compact, slick little system, and I can easily see myself going manual on the Magic Carpet very often. For example, if your camera package exceeds the weight of the 3-axis capacity, just pull off the 3-axis system, throw your camera onto the Magic Carpet, and you can still, with a high degree of confidence, get a moving Dolly shot with the flywheel system engaged. The 3-axis motors. Both systems have very smooth movements and low noise motors. I think typically if you're using a 3-axis system, you're probably miking away from the slider anyway. What I will say is they're both fairly easy to overwhelm on the load capacity side if you're trying to do incline, decline, or vertical shots. They both have, of course, a limitation. There's small motors in there, so you can only put so much weight into them. And if you exceed the limit on the Rhino Arc II, you're kind of out of luck. You're just not going to be able to get that incline shot or that vertical shot unless you drop the weight on your system. That might mean changing your entire lens setup, whatever the case may be. The Genie II has an ace up its sleeve. There is a counterweight system pulley built into each end of the slider track, which allows you to augment the strength of the motor with a counterweight. Now, you do have to fiddle with the weight to make sure it's the right weight for the camera package that you have on the system. But once you've done that, you can go up in weight on your camera package to the extent of potentially even not using the motor at all. If you have a super heavy camera package, you can just counterweight it and have somebody let go of the counterweight. It'll slowly start coming down if you've weighted it right, and you can get by. It is super nice to have an ace in the hole. Should you find your camera package just a little bit too heavy, you can slap on that counterweight system and you're back in business. Batteries. So the battery in the Arc II is an absolute champ. It is big, heavy, and long lasting. I had no complaints about the battery. I rarely had to charge it. It really is a good battery that they've thrown into the body of the Arc II. One downside of it, potentially for some people, depending on your power plan, is that it's not removable or changeable. So if you are, say, backpacking out into the sticks and you aren't going to have another way to recharge the battery, if you don't get the shot in the period of time that that battery has power for you, you're done. Whereas the Genie II's batteries are smaller with a shorter capacity, but they are interchangeable. So you can bring a dozen batteries if you had to, and you will be able to keep swapping those out for as long as you need. So different strengths, different weaknesses, but I think the interchangeable battery system ultimately will work better for more people in the long run. Follow focus. The follow focus is a tremendous feature on the Arc II, and it bummed me out to let it go. While the automation of follow focus is really nice to have, it is still tied to its keyframe system, which means you only have 2 guaranteed focuses on your movement, at the beginning where it starts and at the end. It's entirely possible for it to not be in focus on the entire interim of that shot. You can't, for example, have it focus on an interim keyframe on its way to its final focal point. Rhino says they will be adding more keyframe options in the future to the app. So once they do that, it'll probably vastly enhance the follow focus feature as well. Because the Genie II system does not have a follow focus built in, I augmented it with a Tilta Nucleus Nano, which is a wireless follow focus system. It's not automated, so it isn't a hands-off system, but what is nice about it is that it does give you the manual control to be able to make sure everything that you want to be in focus, the entire shot, is. And it's really nice. I have this really cool little detachable hand system set up on my cage to be able to pop off the handle. The screen and the follow focus knob is right there attached. I can just pull it off the cage and manually adjust the focus as you move through the shot. It's actually a really, really good system, and I think in the end, while not automated, I like it better than the automated follow focus of the Rhino Arc II. The apps. The Arc II app is really one of the things that gave me serious heartburn during my time on set. What would happen is you would take the time to set the first keyframe, you'd move the system to the end of the movement, set the second keyframe, it would come back to the start of the movement, and you'd get ready to hit play. You'd hit play on the movement, and nothing would happen. And you'd hit play again, and hit play again, and nothing would happen. You'd then back out of the keyframe section of the app, and then go back in to kick it, and all your keyframes are reset. It doesn't memorize the previous set keyframes. So then you would set the first keyframe again, move it to the end of the movement, set the second keyframe, let it go back to the front of the movement, and then you'd hit play and nothing would happen. So after a couple times of this, of course, I transitioned to the manual keyframing on the body of the unit, which worked fine. And it's very nice to have that as a backup, but I've already wasted a bunch of time trying to use the app. My client is on set. I look like a buffoon. It was just a very, very bad experience with the app. The Genie II app, on the other hand, never failed on me. Additionally, if you back out of the keyframing segment of the app and go back into the keyframing segment, it retains the original keyframes that you set, so you can pick right back up where you left off. On top of that, you can set ease ins and ease outs on every single axis that has a keyframe. So it really is a much more complete solution, and it's more reliable. Additionally, there's some presets that you can just jump right into a movement with. You don't have to set any keyframes, and it just worked every time. So that's the main factor with the app, is that it works every time. Final thoughts. Now that I'm more familiar with the Syrp product line, I can really appreciate the ecosystem that they've built. Nearly every product in their product line is designed to be used with each other. There's a ton of accessories that they sell that work perfectly interchangeably. In fact, they have accessories that you need to be able to do things like an incline or a vertical shot that Rhino doesn't make yet. You'd actually have to buy one of these accessories from Syrp or something similar from another brand and add it to the Rhino system to be able to do an incline or a vertical shot properly. The Syrp design philosophy is about toolless speed and simplicity. It's very elegant, it's very fast. Once you've used a system that is virtually entirely based on quick latches, you never want to go back to thumb screws for anything ever again. It is so fast and so easy. It's such a good system. Rhino is a terrific company full of terrific people. Their system just has some shortcomings that I really think are super fixable, and when they do, I'll be excited to try it out again. But right now, the Syrp Genie II works so well in so many ways that it is my current go-to 3-axis motion control system and my current go-to manual slider system. I hope this is useful for any of you debating between these two systems. If you have any questions I didn't answer in the video, put those in the comment section below and I will do my best to answer them. Thanks for watching, you guys. Don't forget to like and sub. We'll see you next time. Peace.